Hello, it's Maryonstewart and welcome to my weekly wisdom. This week I'm focusing on hormone replacement therapy because there's been so much information in the media recently. I think it's become a very confusing picture, maybe even more confusing than before. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the research to try and interpret it a bit for you so that you can make a choice about whether you're going to take HRT or not as you go through this transition known as the menopause. First of all, many of us will remember the big studies that were aborted some years ago because of the medical side effects associated with HRT. They thought there was an increased risk of cancer, particularly breast cancer, and heart disease, and stroke, and clotting. And many doctors chose not to prescribe HRT because they were uncertain about the outcomes. And we did surveys looking at prescribing habits, and we found that there were certainly as many doctors who were prescribing HRT as those who weren't. So moving on many years, there's been lots of research, but recently there was a new study published that showed that if you take HRT, you're not likely to die earlier than someone who isn't taking HRT, which is comforting. But what they didn't say was that you do still have an increased risk of breast cancer. And that risk goes up from about 20 women in 1,000 in the normal population. So in other words, women who aren't taking HRT, to the ones who take HRT, it goes up by an extra 5 women per 1,000. So obviously you have to think quite seriously. And there is still an increased risk of clotting and stroke. So now they're basically saying, in the UK at least, that HRT should be back on the menu and that it is a treatment of choice for women going through the menopause. And indeed, there are many people, as you can see from the celebrities who are talking about it, who swear by it and think that it's great. But equally, I see people in my clinic who don't do so well on it. They put lots of weight on. Our surveys showed that you can gain up to 18 pounds within the first year. So that's a deterrent for some people, and it can make migraine headaches worse. So that's the reason why some doctors don't prescribe it. So you have to really decide. Sometimes women want to take it, and in that case you can take it. The current thinking until recently was that you could take it for up to 5 years at the lowest possible dose. That thinking may have changed in some quarters now, and women may be taking it for longer. But then there was some more research published this year, a few months ago, on hearing loss. And that research showed that women who were going into menopause early had some hearing loss, and those who went into menopause on time had even more hearing loss. And if you take HRT, that increases to about 21% hearing loss in those women who took HRT for more than 10 years. And even those who took it between 5 and 10 years, it was around 15%. So you've really got to think seriously about how you journey through the menopause. And to add to that confusion, in America, the American Preventative Services Task Force has recently, in their latest report, issued what they call a D notice against HRT, which means they're not recommending it as a treatment of choice for women going through the menopause. Now, I was as confused as the rest of us when I came to do my new book, so I decided to write a review of all the world literature on HRT. And I did it in conjunction with two very acknowledged experts in their field. So one UK doctor and the ex-chair of the Nurse Practitioner Association in America, and they helped me to make sure that I had everything correct, so with all the medical references. And what I'm doing now is I'm giving that chapter away from my website, so anybody who's thinking about taking HRT can come and read it, because there are so many different sorts of HRT. Not all HRT is equal by any means, as you'll see, and it's really important to know what you're doing. And if you do want to try something, then choose the thing that really appeals to you because of its efficacy and safety. And if not, then you can use an alternative approach, which is the kind of approach that I've been using for more than 25 years very successfully with women in my clinics.